My next video, or probably multi-part video at this rate, will be about my trip to Krakow in Poland. And I don't know nearly as much about Krakow as I know about Prague and so on, because I've never lived in Poland at all. And this was my first trip to Krakow. I mentioned in an earlier video that I went on Leo Express, this service here. My trip ran from Wednesday to Friday, but normally it would be a weekend trip if you did this. So in this I'll reserve a Friday train with a return on a Sunday, even though that's not what I did. So I've gone part of the way, but not all of the way to making a reservation here, and we're going to take a look at the price. So these are the available prices. Certainly not very expensive when you consider it's a over 6-hour trip. And then if we look at the return trip, considerably cheaper. So if you combine those two, you get it for under 30 euros. That's a very reasonable price. And looking a little bit more at Leo Express, I've already gone over them before, but they operate these Stadler Flirt EMUs, which are very similar to the Stadler DMUs that I have in my video of Osa in Greece, which is one of my most popular videos, taken in Patras. Leo Express have been operating since 2010, so they've been in business about 10 years. And there's a map of their routes. I ended up on this service here to Krakow via Katowice and Ostrava. This series of main lines here, of course, does not include Brno and Rzeszów because they're much further to the south. And when I was in Krakow, I spent a fair amount of time taking video of the trams. And they've bought trams from many different sources. Some of them have been used. They have here a summary of the lines in Krakow. These red lines here are express routes. They don't say so on Wikipedia, but the black routes here are night routes. If you look at the scheduling, there certainly are night routes. I'm assuming the reasoning for them being black is obviously because they're night routes. Because if you look at the scheduling of the blue routes, they're all roughly in daylight, basically extremely early morning to just before midnight. But getting to the tram stock, a lot of them are made by this company called Konstal, who are now owned by Alstom, who date back to 1864. There's a Polish Wikipedia article, as you can see here, about them. And they've made more than trams. They've made funicular railways, as you can see here, and metro trains, subways. But I'm not going to go into tremendous detail about them. I'm just mentioning them because when I mention Konstal, that's a tram builder. So this is a Konstal 105NA. ProTram are another brand of tram, but they're basically rebuilt Konstals. They also have Bombardiers on the Krakow system. And most of these are models that are sold elsewhere as well. So, for example, they use these in Dresden. I have some videos of these, actually. So they are called Bombardier Flexity Classics, but they also have model numbers. So, for example, in Krakow, they have NGT6s and NGT8s. Then they have Pesas, I'm not too familiar with Pesa as a tram builder. They seem to be relatively new. But they also have a lot of older used trams, which is a contrast to what you see in the Czech Republic, because although there are a lot of trams in the Czech Republic which are just as old as these and older, they just are left over from the old days. They haven't been bought used and brought in. So, for example, the E1s are former Vienna trams. And you can see the resemblance to some of Vienna's fleet. I have a video of Vienna trams also. And then they have N8s, which were built by the truck builder Mann in the 70s. He's worked in Nuremberg. And these are relatively modern. These are EU8Ns, but they're formerly of Vienna's system also, even though it's pretty easy to argue that these are modern. And they maintain some historic trams, just like in Prague and Brno. They run. I don't recall getting any of these in video. So we'll take a look at my videos next, I suppose, which will include the trip there on Leo Express and a look at Krakow's tram system.